come to order. The news media is not here yet. Can I get approval of the agenda?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the agenda be approved. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposers are the same. It is unanimous. We stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend Smith, can I get you to lead us in the invocation, please?
Gracious God, our Father, in the name of Jesus, we come. And Heavenly Father, we come again thanking you for all of the wonderful and mighty blessings that you continuously bestow upon us. And oh God, as we enter into this board meeting, we pray that your Spirit will be in our midst and that you, Heavenly Father, will show yourself mighty and strong. Give us a unity, give us, Heavenly Father, ability to do things that will advance this school district, to make it, Heavenly Father, the best school district on this side of judgment. These and all blessings we do declare and decree in Jesus' name. Wherever we pray, amen.
Amen. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we go into executive session for the business of personal matters, hires, resignations, and the superintendent's evaluation. Are you ready for the question? Are you ready to vote? All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposers are the same. We are now in executive session. Now we got it. Good. Can I get a motion to go back into open session?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded we go back into open session. I want to apologize for everyone that's sitting out. It took a little longer tonight than usual for us to get some things done, but it was very important and very needed. And with that being said, we'll go forward. There were no actions taken, no decisions were made in our executive session, and we'll now go forward with open session. I would like to make one change. I'll make that change. I would like to make one change that we take item 5 in the superintendent's report and move it up just before public session, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
And then one of the things, that's going to be 2 in Act 155 diplomas instead of 3.
We can move that up too?
No,
Okay.
no, just so they'll know.
There will be, where's that at? Act diplomas would be 2 as opposed to 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Act -155 diplomas, where it has 3, that will be 2. That will be another change. Resignations, hires.
We do have, thank you, good afternoon, everyone. To the board, we do have 5 elections that we would like to recommend or hire with the school district.
A motion.
I make a motion we accept the
The 5
5.
elections. Can we get a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the 5 elections. Are you ready for questions? All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposers are the same. The 5 elections have been approved. At this time, I'd like to read a letter.
That's not me.
It's not? Okay. I'd like to read a letter based on our superintendent's evaluation, and it's being read to the superintendent from the board. And it states, Dr. McCord, as you are aware, the board evaluated your abilities as a superintendent, and overall the board is expressed and hopefully for your continued growth as our superintendent for our district and leader in our community. Your 2019 superintendent's evaluations assessed 6 categories: 1, policy and governance; 2, planning and assessments; 3, instructional leadership; 4, organizational management; 5, communications and community relations; and 6, professionalism. As a result of your scores, you received an overall designation of exceeds, about which we are very pleased. You scored highest in the categories of instructional leadership, organizational management, and professionalism, respectively. As a new superintendent to our district, we are happy with your current progress and expect your continued excellence and commitment to the district, along with additional growth as you continue to implement the changes you have made this past year and realize the results of those changes. Specifically, as evidenced by the scores you received, the board believes you have a clear vision of excellence which you communicate succinctly that aligns with the goals of the district. Additionally, you have begun to implement your changes in the district to meet your goals, particularly as we believe you support a safe and positive environment for students and staff. This act of diligence goes a long way in building effective and long-lasting relationships with our community and district personnel. Lastly, in a day where professionalism is scarce, you have set the tone of your tenure to reflect one of moral and ethical standards that is noticed within the district and the community, and we commend you for the efforts you personally made during times of hardship, such as your organization and providing for resources during hurricane season. We would urge you, as we have done, to continue to maintain an open door policy to encourage an effective stream of communication between the board, the staff, and the community. To that end, the board looks forward to continuing to work with you in providing a quality education for our students for the 2019-2020 school year and beyond. And this comes from the board and myself. Good luck. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
You can.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the board chair and to members of the board, most importantly to the members here in the audience and the Marlboro County community. I can tell you, coming here over a year ago, I had one thought on my mind, and that was to be the best that I could possibly be. I can't be the best that I can be without you encouraging me and being the best that you can be. And so for that, I say thank you to the board and to you, the public, for instilling in me the opportunity to serve this community in the way that we have. All decisions made have not always been agreed upon, but they've all been with the best interests of students in mind. And I thank you for your support to each and every one of you that is seated here before me. Because again, without you, I cannot be successful. As we move forward, I can only give you my word that I will look to be more patient, more of a listener, more of a supporter and provider to this community, to our staff. But again, my number one goal is to be all that I can be for the students that we serve. And so I say thank you once again for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move that we increase Dr. McCoy's base salary by 4% and to make any such other contractual amendments as contemplated by the board. I also move that the board chair sign the contractual addendum on behalf of the board.
It's been moved and second that we increased the superintendent's salary by 4%. And if you would, I hate to ask you to do this, but I'd like for you to read that part again from the 4% on to make sure we have a clear understanding.
I move that we increase Dr. McCoy's base salary by 4% and to make any such other contractual amendments as contemplated by the board. I also move that the board chair sign the contractual addendums on behalf of the board.
Thank you. It has been moved and second. Are you ready for question? Are you ready to vote? All in favor of the said motion, please let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposers are the same. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in favor, 1 opposed. It has been approved. We will now go into the public session, approval of minutes for August 5th, 2019 regular meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the meetings for August 5th. Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the minutes for August 5th on regular meeting. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed?
Miss, a point of contention.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Bright, the minutes reflected you wasn't here. That's not a problem, but I think it's, would you retract your motion and I'll make that motion, just to be clear?
No, ma'am, because whatever the board agrees to do, I follow them. So,
Okay.
yeah,
But my
whatever.
thing is that the minutes reflect Ms. Bright was not here on the August 5th meeting. And she's motioning to do that. I'm in favor of that, but I want us to be doing the right thing. So what I'm asking is that it would be maybe appropriate for someone else to make that motion.
I will not. I read the minutes, and I will not.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, I will abstain from voting because I was not at that meeting.
Okay.
I can't remember, was I here?
The minute reflects that you was not.
Okay.
I mean, this is what's in the minute.
I will need a new motion, please.
I move that we accept the minutes from the August 5th meeting.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the minutes from the August 5th, 2019 regular meeting. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposes?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't here.
We have 2 abstentions from those that were not here, but it has been approved by majority. We're now looking at approval of minutes for the special call meeting on August the 12th, 2019.
Mr. Chair, I will offer you a motion for adoption of that minute from the August 12th, 2019 special call meeting.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the approval of the minutes from special call meeting on August the 12th, 2019. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposers are the same. It is unanimous. Points of celebration.
It gives me great pleasure to ask Ms. Anderson to come to the front as we recognize 2 individuals tonight. One I think you all know, Mr. Daniels. Is he present?
Yes, he's here.
Mr. Mark Daniels and his son Brandon.
Let's call people.
This is new for me. I normally don't do this. but I'm happy to do it. At the end of school this past year, Mr. Daniels, Mark, asked me if he could do something for the community, especially for the kids. There's something that he wanted done. I got to look at everybody to tell this story. And I said, sure. I mean, we're looking to find people to partner with us to do things in the community. And he said, it's something I want to do. He said, we've done it one other place, and I think it would go good here. I said, okay. And he said, I'd like to give every child a cake on their birthday that go to Marlboro County schools. And most of you that know me know I water up in a heartbeat. And I kind of watered up because I thought about the number of kids that never get anything on their birthday. And for somebody to come forward and to be willing to do that, it meant a lot to me. And I know it's going to mean a lot to some of these kids. And he said, I'll do it if I can get some help. And we've been able to get a couple other folk to agree to help out in that cost. So every kid now from grades K through 5th will get a cake on their birthday. There will be a certificate that's given to them by their teacher. They can go to Carl's Grocery and pick up their birthday cake. And it's not a small cake, y'all. It's a full birthday cake, and they get to pick out exactly what they want. And I, on behalf of the school district, want to thank you, Mark and Brandon, for partnering in such a way that most kids will never, ever be able to thank you for what it is. Some kids really don't even know what birthday is except it's a birthday. So thank you very much.
It really is an honor to be able to do this. So I cheer up a little bit quicker than you, but it is an honor and a privilege to be able to do it. I didn't know exactly what I was going to say, but I read that when I sat down, and it says, we love you and we care about you and we're here for you. That's what we're about. Thank you.
Good food down there too.
Just in case those of you that are new in town like me, they have a special down at Carl's that is responsible for my weight gain. It's called 1 meat, 2 vegetables. Would feed you for days. So, thank you. I'm going to ask Herbert McNeil to come up and present this next award because we were actually at a conference in Charleston, South Carolina recently. We, being myself and the board members, and we had a superintendent and board members from Jasper County come up and want to express to us how thankful they were for not just the beating that we put on them that Friday night before, but for the hospitality shown. And I'm going to let Herbert McNeil talk about that hospitality.
Good evening. Good evening. Starts off with they had some trouble we used to be familiar with until we went out and got a new fleet. And now all the transportation directors in the state, we kind of keep a connection, and the transportation director called me, told me they were having some bus troubles. So right at that time, he just said, look, well, I'm gonna need you to pick them up and get them to the game. So I sent James Pate down to pick them up off 95 and bring the team in to play. So they were running a little late. Got them here, got everything set. Transportation director called me back, said, well, we're gonna send a bus to pick them up. Well, that bus broke down before they could get here. It probably got 20 miles down the road, and that bus, they had trouble with that one. So he called me back and he said, well, you reckon you can get them home for me? I said, not a problem. So at that time, I called Bobby Covington and told him, said, Bobby, I'm gonna need you to be on standby. He's gonna call me back. And I could hear the grin in the phone when I said it, because he loves a challenge when I ask him to do anything. And so at that time, about 30 minutes later, he called and said, yeah, Herbert, we're gonna need you to take him back. And so I called Bobby, and he was already working at the game on the back gate back there. And I told him, I said, Bobby, we need you to take him back. Now that's gonna be a long ride. We probably need to put you in a room or something. He said, don't worry about that. So I said, well, all right, we'll see. So sure enough, the coach come up. He said, there's no way he'll be able to take us and get us back. We're going to go ahead and pay for him and put him in a room or whatever. But see, I didn't know that the coach still didn't understand. Bobby's not going anywhere and stay overnight if he don't have to. He's going to come back home. And so then later, D told me that he had a football game for his grandson. So I know he wasn't missing that Saturday morning. So sure enough, he went to Georgia, took him home, turned around and came right back, and showed them great hospitality, offered them anything they want, offered to stop and do whatever they need to do, treated them like they were our own. And that's the only way we like to treat people, and we just want to thank him for that. Bobby?
Thank you, Mr. McNeil, for your great leadership. The people are following your lead.
Again, we want to thank Mr. Daniels and Mr. Daniels as well as Bobby for his hard work. We thank everyone for all that you do for our kids. It's important to our children. Public comments. Please keep in mind that these comments are for 3 minutes, and we look forward to hearing from you if you have issues. We'll start with Ms. Susan Michaels.
Members of the board, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Susan Michaels. I am one of the co-directors of the United Methodist Salkehatchie Summer Camp that we usually stay at Camp PD. Salkehatchie has been repairing homes here for about 25 years, and we usually impact 7 to 12 families a year. Normally we stay at, like I said, Camp PD, but unfortunately they are not going to be able to accommodate us due to costs this year. So we would like to ask you to approve for us to use one of the local schools for our camp this year. The dates would be June 20th through 27th or June 27th through July 4th. It would be between 100 and 150 participants that all volunteer. They actually pay to volunteer. And we would need the use of the kitchen for possibly, for breakfast and then also dinner. We would be more than happy to pay 2 of your employees for helping us cook in the kitchen. Do you guys have? Oh, and we would pay for janitorial services for staying in the school.
I'm Arlene Andrews. I'm the other co-director. I would just mention that the United Methodist, Salcatchee Summer Service is an affiliate of the United Methodist Conference. We have 50 of these camps around the state, and every year there are camps that stay at local schools. Last year we had 9 camps staying in schools, particularly in rural communities because they don't have large churches that can handle us. United Methodist Church feeds us. We couldn't be staying in the same place because they need to set up for feeding us, so we're not able to stay there. And we've had very successful experiences with staying in schools around the state, and we can give you references on that if you feel the need for it.
Excuse me?
And we did send a letter requesting permission to do this. We are an entirely volunteer organization. We don't have any staff except for one administrative assistant who helps coordinate 50 camps out of the conference office. But otherwise, we're all volunteer. And Lee Fowler is one of our directors as well. Randy Bowers is one of our supporters from up here.
Okay. Okay.
I know we can't put that in the form of motion, being that it's on 3 minutes comments, but how can we charge them if they're going to come here and build and restore homes for our people? I think any school in this county would be glad to have you to stay with us and be with us. We appreciate the offer, and I'm quite sure.
Thank you, Mr. Coachman. I think at this point, what we were hoping is if the board has its support, then we would just start talking about developing an agreement regarding what the actual costs would be and which school and that sort of thing.
How soon would you need a response?
It would be helpful to know within the next month, partly because we need to fix the dates.
Okay.
And we start recruiting volunteers in January, but because there are so many camps around the state, it would help for us to know when the facilities were available.
Okay, well, we should be able to give you a response within 30 days. Okay? And thank you again, and I want to say on behalf of the board and this community, we thank you for all that you do in our community and for what you do for our folk. Thank you very much.
Well, and let me just say, on behalf of the volunteers, I've been coming for 25 years. We love this community. Everyone supports us so well, so we'll be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jamel Chalmers? Did I say that right? Chalmers.
Good evening to Dr. McCord and the members of the board. I'm a parent of a freshman and a junior here at Marlboro County High School, and I was just concerned as to why the changes to the lunch schedule, why the parents weren't notified. Not that we need to be consulted on every decision that you make, but a major change like the lunch and learn, I think, should have been addressed with the parents at the open houses, especially with the freshmen from them transitioning from middle school to high school and something that drastic. I think that should have been addressed with the parents because effective communication is the base of any good relationship. And sometimes it's not what you do all the time, it's how you do it. And a little bit of communication with the parents, I think, would have been appreciated. I know I would have appreciated knowing about it before the first day after I picked my daughter up and I asked her how her day went. And she was like, "Mom, we went to one lunch." I said, "One lunch? For everybody?" And she was like, "Yes, ma'am." So I think that could have been done a little better as far as the parents being notified of a drastic change of that nature. And in addition, when we have awards day here at Marlboro County High School, could we please, as parents, get more than 8 hours notice? Because I like to be at anything that my children are participating in. And in order for me to get time off work, I do need more than 8 hours notice in order for me to be here. Because I think that motivates them when they know that mom is going to be there or grandma can be there. But we do need more than 8 hours notice. Thank you.
Thank you. Perry Lucas.
Well, I guess I'm too close.
Okay.
I ain't gonna have too much to say, Mr. McNeil. You done said everything I had to say on that letter. But, Dr. McCoy, a lot of people in the community always, you know, talking among themselves, and I tried to get some of them to come and express their views, you know, instead of when they see you out. Dr. McCoy, you're doing a good job. I'm gonna say it in front of everybody. Everything that you set out to do, you hold everybody accountable, all the way down to the custodian. But you say stuff like, if you ask for something, I'll get it, but I want you to use it. And you're doing a good job. And I was looking, I done worked at quite a few of the schools, and the food program that y'all got implemented now, the children is not throwing as much food away. They're eating it. And down at Blenheim, some of the children help clean the cafeteria just to get extra food in the afternoon. So they, whatever they cooking, they like it. They ain't just throwing it in the garbage, just wasting it. And well, I ain't got no hat on, but I want to take my hat off to you. You're doing a good job. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you who had comments and all of you who have concerns. We're not just sitting here just to waste your time. We are concerned about making sure that notices are given on time. We are concerned about to make sure that our kids are well taken care of. And I'm hoping and I know all these things will be addressed.
Yes, sir.
They will be addressed.
Yes, sir.
I promise you. And
Mr.
thank you
Chair.
again.
Mr. Chair, I can't remember your name now. Request that they made is not an unreasonable request, and I don't think that it would take a whole lot of brainstorming to know what we need to do. I don't think we need to wait 30 days to give them an answer that we can give them tonight based on what they've already done, unless you know something I don't.
And typically we would not respond, but I will say this, I do need to consult with legal counsel.
Okay.
To find out what the implications might be, and
Yes,
I also need to make sure that we have adequate facilities.
Yes, sir.
And that would include showers. We can provide kitchen, of course, we can provide space, but to be quite honest with you, I think one of the most important things is they would like to have some place that they could wash properly. And so if you would just allow us an opportunity to do due diligence, and then we'll make an informed decision, and I'll get that back to the board.
We have to have a special call meeting.
Okay.
We can use shower trailers and that we could provide if the number of showers wasn't sufficient in school.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Red. Board items for discussion.
Okay, I have school and building updates, and I just would like to take a few moments, and I know some of you have seen some of the work that's been done. Again, thank you, Marlboro County, for allowing us the bond referendum that passed last November. And I'll just talk a little bit about some of the updates that have taken place with the bathroom projects that we have, and we have bathroom projects slated for 4 schools to include Marlboro County High School, Bennettsville Intermediate, Bennettsville Primary, and McCall Elementary Middle. We have just started and we have completed 1 set of bathrooms. We look forward to completing a second set within the next 40 days, and then from that momentum, we hope to be able to do so for the remainder of the year, continue the work with our restroom projects so that our students and staff will have adequate facilities. The lighting project, we are nearing completion with tendering that contract. Hopefully, by the time we come back next month, we will have lighting that will have begun here in the high school, and then we'll continue throughout the county. If you want to know how important lighting is, if you look at the lighting here in this room, not to mention many of our other facilities, it's very poor. And so we aim to create more light without using as much wattage or voltage, And of course, the goal is to save money while making it brighter. And so I think you'll all be pleased with this project. And this, of course, will continue throughout the district, hoping to begin next week. The water stations that we said we were replacing around the district, we have begun that work. Some of you have seen students with the water bottles. It's a filtered water system which makes for a better tasting water, if there's such a thing. I think all water is good, whether it's Dasani or Aquafina, but kids are very picky, and rightfully so. And I think having these water bottle stations, kids have really begun to enjoy them, and that's definitely a plus. We had some unsightly work done over at BPS. We had the removal of the portables, mobile learning units. We were able to get many of those down. I think 4. We have several others that are going to be claimed by those that have purchased and donated those mobile learning units. And once we get those away, then we'll be able to continue with the outside aesthetics and beautification of our buildings. The rear exterior doors here at Marlboro County High School have been ordered. For those of you that have not seen the doors coming in from transportation, some of those doors are stronger than most people. And so you have to really wrestle with them to get them open. Not only are they strong, but they're also unsafe. And so we have ordered doors, and we hope to have those up sometime in the next couple of months. Continuing our work with Care South, we have just about finished the renovations at the Annex building so that we can properly serve our staff at the Annex building with the Care South mobile units that will provide healthcare services for staff. This, of course, as you know, will give us an advantage in how we care for and treat our staff by having them just report to one of our sites. At BIS, McCall Elementary Middle, Clio, BPS, Bennettsville Primary, Clio Elementary, and McCall Elementary Middle, the architects have come in. They have made plans and designs for what the storefront options will look like. Again, we're looking to begin work on these as soon as possible, continuing with Bennettsville Intermediate. The demolition of the 3 buildings in back will take place in the next few months as soon as it's approved by the Office of School Facilities. And then from there, we'll begin the new construction of the cafeteria and the renovation of the auditorium, which I think will make for a much more pleasant atmosphere for our students and our community. The playground and the shades, we have been very blessed to receive rave reviews from students across the county for the playgrounds and the shade structures that have been included at several of our schools, to include each of our schools receiving either new playgrounds or new shades. And then we have the awnings, the bus or car rider awnings that have been ordered for Clio, as well as the lighting situation. We hope to improve that. Again, within the next 9 months, you'll see many changes taking place across the district, and it'll be my goal to bring these changes and updates to you every so often so that you can know exactly what we are doing as opposed to wondering what we're doing. And I'll take questions if you have. Okay, there being none, last month I was asked by the board to research what could be some possible plans for property, vacated property that we have here in the district. And before I proceeded to continue, I wanted to bring to you some ideas that I will need your full approval for, as well as some of you to take road trips with me to see other sites. One of the things that has been presented to me that I would like to, again, ask or request you to grant me permission is to work in conjunction with our local city and town council to see what the possibilities might be to create some avenues of recreational activities at the lakeside property, which I believe is on Country Club Drive. This would be a joint venture that would possibly end up with Marlboro County having a water park, a natatorium, recreational activities for young and old alike, with a nice scenic view. Again, before I continue with that, I wanted to let you know that these are some possibilities that are available with the proper collaboration and funding. I think is well within our reach. I have 3 sites for us to go and visit together. You just let me know when, and we'll load up in my truck, and I have to drive, and we'll take a look at some things and come back with some plans and see how you would like for me to proceed. I also have scheduled at the Old School of Discovery site our Ecumenical Partners Luncheon, which will be held on September 25th. Thank you, Ms. Cribb. September 25th. What we hope to do at that time is showcase that building to see if there are some possibilities that can be expounded upon with the town of Clio, and if not, with a ministerial alliance or a church looking for a home. There are great possibilities that could happen. Again, not wanting to extend myself too far without giving you some thoughts, ideas, and suggestions, but that is definitely something that I want you to think about. First of all, attending on September 25th, and then secondly, being open to the options of providing that as a place for the community or for a local ecumenical partner here in the town of Bennettsville, Clio, Wallace. I know I left out two. McCall and Blenheim. Okay, so it is open and available. I did not want to go too far because all you asked me to do is come back with some ideas. I have another idea for the property on Country Club Drive, and that is to see if we can find a developer that will come in and build small single-family dwellings or apartment complexes that could serve both this community and our school district. So that when we have new employees come in, we would have a place for them to have affordable living. Not wanting to go too far, I just wanted to share those thoughts and ideas with you, and then ask that we continue our talks, but to get your blessings to continue, because all of these ideas that are coming to me, I don't feel comfortable without letting you know first what's been said. So who wants to ride with me to North Carolina first?
Give me a date.
Okay. All right, I'll send some dates out, and there are a couple of places I'd like for us to look at. One is Kingston, North Carolina. Is that a long way? Oh, I drive fast. The other is Orangeburg, South Carolina, where this work has been done. And then recently I had a chance to experience Hartsville, I think it's called Neptune something. Neptune Island. I had a chance to experience that last weekend with my new kids. It's a lot of fun. But again, one of the important features that are not present at Neptune Island is having a natatorium. I think it's very pertinent and important that we strongly consider trying to do everything we can to find a natatorium so that we can teach and provide swimming lessons for our young people here in this community. And also, again, having nice, safe, recreational places for them to go. These are not one-year deals. These are not two-year deals. These are plans that will have to be carefully thought out, talked about, formulated. We'll have to collaborate with other agencies. But again, I think they're all within our realm. I've talked to those that have done it, and they've done it successfully. And these ventures are still operating successfully at no cost to any one agency.
Now, when you say Country Club Drive, you're referring to the east side?
East Side High? East Side High, yes, sir. Where we currently house AMI.
Okay.
Is that Country Club Drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Country Club and Cook Street.
Okay. I'm still learning. I know how to get there.
Yeah, I ain't too familiar with the streets either. That's why I was trying to make sure.
So those are my thoughts, and again, I'll send more information out to you, but I did think it's important that, again, as I said, that I slow down and bring it to you before I continue on, because as you know, once I get started, I get going.
Yes, Lord.
Solicitation of new audit firms. I was asked last month to bring in some information related to soliciting out new audit firms. I'm going to ask West Park to come and give you the 5 firms that we have been in contact with, and what we aim to do is something very similar to what we did with legal counsel. Invite 5 firms to come in, present to you at a special call meeting, provide you with information and insight as to the services that they provide and how they could best benefit our district, and then from there you'll make a decision. We'll contact the service provider and we'll move forward. The audit would be for 2019, 2020, as we're currently underway with our 2018, 2019 audit.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. McCord. I've prepared just a write-up on information regarding auditing services. It's my understanding the board is interested in requesting information regarding audit services. I've developed a letter of interest to send to qualified firms to request a meeting with the superintendent and the board of trustees. The 5 firms, as well as our current firm, Malden and Jenkins, have been identified to send this communication to. The 5 firms are as follows: Elliott Davis, Webster Rogers, Green Finney Horton, McGregor and Company, Maccabee Swartz, Holiday and Company. And the letter will read as follows. Marlboro County School District is seeking your interest in providing auditing services for our district for fiscal years ending June 30th, 2020 through June 30th, 2024. Our superintendent, Dr. Gregory McCord, along with the Board of Trustees, will be interviewing audit firms on, and just stated a date, at Marlboro County High School Media Center, 951 Fayetteville Avenue Extension, Bennettsville, South Carolina. Our district considers you as a highly qualified firm and would like for you to come talk to us and tell us what services you can provide. Attached, you'll find a list of requested auditing services. Please let me know if you're considering, if you are interested in serving our district and would be able to meet with us on, and then the date. So this is basically the communication that I'm proposing that you consider sending out to the 5 firms that were identified along with our existing auditing firm.
So it's actually 4 plus 5 or 5 plus
It's 5 plus the existing, yeah, so it'll be 6 firms.
Total of 6 firms.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are all these South Carolina firms?
They are, and they all have experience with school districts, so this is very relevant to their practice.
Can you go forward?
No, the only thing we need to know when we send out the information to you, we'll send it out tomorrow with a few dates, and you let us know which dates are best for you, and we'll schedule it appropriately. I can tell you, if we have the firms come in and we look at 30-minute presentations, you're talking at a minimum 3 hours. So we'll send a couple of dates to you. But it's important enough work.
It is. It's very much important.
Okay.
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask, I was asked, I'm sorry, by a board member to address classified staff and fair labor standard practices. I'll let Wes Park and Kakila Robinson speak to these 2, and then, of course, if you have questions, feel free to ask questions.
I think the discussion that we're talking about relates to specifically to our bus drivers within the district, and just give you a little background regarding the budget process we went through for the fiscal year 1920. We increased the cost estimate for bus driver salaries and benefits to reflect the change from few full-time drivers and many dual-role employees and part-time drivers to 40 full-time drivers and that would be effectively working 30 hours a week for 180 days, along with the 12 dual-role employees and 6 part-time. The change in full-time status of the majority of the drivers was necessitated by concerns over compliance with ACA, which requires the district to offer benefits to those drivers working 30 hours a week or more. As a result, the most significant increase in the cost for bus drivers was in the benefit area, approximately $150,000 increase in health insurance and another $50,000 in retirement cost. At last check with transportation, the department has 39 full-time drivers, of which 22 have elected health insurance coverage and 17 had declined coverage for various reasons. We've got 12 dual-role employees, 7 of which drive morning and afternoon routes, and 5 drive just in the mornings. We have 5 part-time bus drivers. So that just gives you an idea of what our current makeup is in terms of staffing for bus drivers. But I think the issue, a lot of the issue relates to the requirement that the district has to classify appropriately the drivers that could potentially be considered to be full-time because of the number of hours that they are driving. So I know Ms. Robinson will probably want to speak a little bit more about this.
That is correct. Last year when we reviewed the timesheets, we realized that we had employees that were classified as part-time employees actually driving in excess of 30 hours per week, which is an ACA violation. And just one fine from that can be damaging to the district. So we decided to offer all of our bus drivers 30 hours. They do not have to accept benefits. They can decline it, but we as a district have to show that we offered it, and they have to sign that they are choosing not to take it, not to take the benefits, to be compliant with ACA.
Okay, so,
Ms. Bright.
so what I heard, a lot of the complaints were, and I think I understand now that they really didn't realize what was, some of them say they didn't realize that taking the option be full-time kind of messed with their monies. Some of them was driving in the morning, working at the schools, and then driving the bus in the afternoon. So I got a lot of calls and a lot of complaints about, you know, why they didn't get paid with the hours, I guess being over the hours. You know what you understand what I'm saying with the problem?
I think that's separate from the ACA. You're moving into dual enrollment employees. We do have several employees who are dual enrollment employees. The issue we found with our dual enrollment employees is that they were double dipping. They were on the clock. For example, if you're a parapro, payroll sets you up the day you walk in for a 7.5-hour day, and that check is cut on the 50th and 30th, basically no matter what. If you become a dual enrollment employee, you get an additional timesheet on top of that. What was happening was hours that we were already paying you in salary for, you were being paid for a second job. So what we did this summer was we defined when your work hours started, so you can earn money before your work hours that we're paying your salary for. You have to work your job that we're paying you the salary for, and then once that's over, you're once again eligible to earn an additional salary. But we're protecting that window that we've already decided from payroll is salary. You have to work those hours.
Okay, so the other hours, the 2 hours in the morning, just throwing a number, and the 2 hours in the afternoon, so those are considered like supplemental pay or something is being paid once a month?
That's
right. They were actually paid for the hourly amounts at the 30th of each month. So they were paid the regular salary every twice a month, and then they would receive their additional hours on the 30th of the month.
Mr. Coach?
So basically, Mr. Parker, you're talking about people that are assistant teachers and bus drivers, subs and bus drivers.
There were those that have already got an existing position, a full-time position, and then, of course, they're driving as well.
And I hear the term
Yes, sir.
double dipping used. Was that in excess of $8,000-9,000, probably overall $22,000 salary between the two jobs?
Well,
I think
the issue ends up that the bus driving time in previous periods overlapped with their existing salary, and so they were getting paid for bus driving as well as their existing time, and it was taking place during the same time frame.
And I think to answer the question more specifically, we had situations occurring where staff was being paid more for overtime than they were being paid for the job in which they were hired to do. And so that of course puts us on the wrong side of the equation.
So that's my next, excuse me, woman, that's my next question. So if they work 7 hours in the school, and they work 2 hours in the morning driving bus, and 2 hours in the afternoon driving bus, they work 11 or 12 hours, is that
Anything
overtime?
anything that exceeds 40 hours in a week is at time and a half. And of course, we do comply with those requirements to pay the overtime rate on anything that exceeds 40 hours.
So they get paid at the end of the month?
We've been paying overtime for as long as I recall.
Long as you've been here?
Yes, yes,
So
sir.
at the end of the month, they get paid overtime if they work 11 hours a day?
They get paid, yes. They would get paid their straight time up to 40 hours, and then they would be paid a time and a half for anything over 40.
Mr. Branch, and then Miss.
Well, right now, I know we have 12 dual role employees who are working, who are driving bus.
We got that many now, but how many did we have?
It was substantially more than that.
And and these people don't make a lot to begin with, and you know what, we're messing with their livelihoods. We really are. How much of it has to do with paying overtime as it does with the ACA fees, penalties that you say?
Well, that's two different, the 30 hours was with the bus drivers. That was one issue. The second issue was we were already paying an employee a salary. They were allowed to have a second job, but their second job was also during the time of the first job.
And so let me explain that, if I can, in a way that hopefully you can understand it without complicating the matter more. If we have an employee who's scheduled to work from 7:30 to 4:30 every day, or 7:30 to 3:30 every day, some employees would work and do other jobs between the 7:30 and the 3:30. It may extend to 5:30. And then they would say that they would come back and complete work that should have been done between 7:30 and 3:30 throughout the evening. And so it's a very complicated situation. And let me be the first to say I understand and completely appreciate the need for everyone to make the money as best they can. But at the rate that we were going, you asked a great question. I think it's come up twice. How long has this been going on? If it was going on far before me, but I can tell you, the same as I've shared with some of you previously, if it's going on under my watch, there's really only one person who takes the responsibility for that, and that's the superintendent. I can't afford to go to jail for violating laws. I don't want to sit before you and lose my job because I would have operated in a way in which I should know better, and I would stand to be held accountable. And so the better method for us would be to find a few things that we can do. One might be to find a way to increase salary so that everyone can have a livable wage. Of course, finding folks to fill those vacancies, that ties directly into livable wages. But we cannot continue in the manner that we have because doing so puts us potentially in violation.
So how many?
Miss Fleming.
I don't know how long this is, you said how long it's been going on, and this is the first I'm hearing from the superintendent that we are in violation. However, we asked, we diligently asked as teachers' assistants as well as anyone else to drive the buses because we needed them. And I don't know whether, if you say we were breaking the law, then we've been breaking it for a good number of years. Now we are at a point where we're saying we're going to take this away. We know what the salaries are for classified people, and it is just barely above a living wage. Now, if we are not, I don't want to do anything illegal, and I would not hope that you all would not either. But there have to be a way that when people are telling me, I'm not sure it's true that they are losing $12,000 a year and they are barely making above the minimum wage. That is not something that feels good because they put so many years into this district, working those hours, those children. I mean, getting the children here on time. So I don't know. I think it's something. Don't break the law, but find a way to work this through, because we asked teachers' assistants, get your driver's license. This way you can make a little bit more money. And they did that. Now we are saying.
Well, and again,
there is a way. If we could get our legislature to let us leave the buses on campus like we used to. When they were not double dipping, when they were picking up the kids, bringing them to school, parking the bus on the campuses, going to their classrooms, finishing their day's work, coming out and getting on the buses and taking them home. They were not, it was not costing us, the double dipping wasn't going on. When they're double dipping is when they bring the kids to school and got to turn around and come to Bennettsville and leave the bus and go back home. That's where it's coming from. If we could convince our legislatures, or if there's a way that they could leave their buses on campus, which is, in my opinion, a safety issue. I can't imagine a terrorist in trying to move kids to another location, and you got to bring buses all the way from, now I get on a soapbox here. You got to bring them all the way Bennettsville and back to McCall so I can carry them down the street to a shelter. Leave them on campus, and that's the answer to your problem.
There's also another answer to the problem. If you got assistant teachers and we are now need a bus driver, and their assistant teachers are classified workers, let them off. Let them get out 2 o'clock, 2:30. Then they can start their bus route. You don't have to pay them overtime for the regular pay. Just let them, and you know you're going to have them there 6 hours, because we need bus drivers, and they're designated bus drivers that we went out and recruited.
We would still exceed, we would still exceed the 40-hour work week. If they work 6 hours, 6 times 5 would be 30. The average bus route, I believe in talking with Herbert, is going to be between 20 and 23 hours a week. Those two together would be 53 hours. We would have to pay 40 hours at one rate, and then we pay 13 hours at a blended rate or time and a half. And then if we don't do it, and we find ourselves in the middle of a class action lawsuit from those saying that we did not pay them for work that they performed outside of the 40-hour work week, then we find ourselves again in a precarious spot. And that's not something that I'd like to find a way to solve and resolve it. I think coming back to you again in the fall when we talk about budgeting, it's going to be about finding livable wages, because if we have livable wages, then we won't have the vacancies. But There's a bus driver shortage across the country. Across the country. Now, if we were talking about teachers who are certified staff, and they're non-exempt status. So if we had teachers that could do it, we could do that all day long. But we're asking folks that we pay, they're classified employees, and we pay them basically by the hour. It's salary, but it's by the hour.
Yeah.
They don't have exempt status.
And I understand you're saying you're paying about an hour, but they're the lowest paid hourly people.
I don't disagree with you, sir. And that's where we as a board and superintendent have to find a way to be creative with the budgeting process for next year.
In the meantime, I'm just, you're saying next year, but we're having people who are going to, according to them, they will lose $12,000. And that means whenever they retire, they're going to retire with less money than they're making now, and it would not be a livable wage. And I somehow or another, they've depended on this. If we've broken the law, then we don't need to break the law. But, we came up, first of all, we wanted to, get a custodian services. That, we did not do that. We wanted to do a lunchroom thing. We kind of worked through that to where that everyone could continue to keep their jobs. And now because we ask, and I have on this board and in this community, we ask people, we don't have any bus drivers, but you can make a little bit more money if you get your CDLs. And when you ask a person to take on the responsibility of a big old school bus, getting up 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning to get out on the route, and then they do it for a good number of years, and then all of a sudden it's non-existent, that's not a good thing to answer to your community.
Let me. We can go all night and still be where we started at right now. There is a solution. Ms. Nana, I think you started by saying that we were concerned about custodians. We worked through that. We were concerned about food. We worked through that. And y'all, we're about to work through this bus problem. Okay? Now, if we have to have a meeting to get together with the superintendent, with Wes, and with Ms. Robinson, we will do that.
Exactly.
Okay? Are we good? Thank you very much. Continue.
Parking area at Marlboro County High School, I believe one of you asked that this be placed on the item for discussion.
That was my item, and my rationale behind that is, for several years now, they have had no parking signs along the driveway in front of Marlboro County High School. You only have 2 parks for visitors on that side where those signs are. I come through that driveway, there are cars parked there all the time. I'm driving a big Silverado, and I got to drive up on the curve in order to get through. Now, I've addressed this issue in the past, and all I'm asking is, if we're going to put no parking signs there, what's the enforcement of no parking? If we're not going to enforce it, take the signs down, and I have no problem. But I see our own district staff vehicles parked in that no parking zone. So if we're not going to enforce it, then the signs need to come down.
Well.
Okay. You want me to comment on that?
You can.
I will speak with the principal to find out what the best possible solution will be for that particular area. I'll also include Herbert McNeil in this discussion, and we'll get back to you. You're talking about in the front, that's labeled as red, no parking? Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to address that also. It provides a public safety issue if you have to have law enforcement or fire come in there or ambulances come in there. They can't get through either.
We'll look into it and see what some possible solutions might be. It might include rerouting the traffic for teachers in their park? I don't know at this time, but we'll find out
You
what's
won't need to
best.
reroute it, you just need to move the cars.
Mr. Chair,
Just what?
with that said, I request to be excused. I have a revival going on at my church, and I need some reviving.
Keep us in prayer.
Keep us all in prayer, Red. We'll see you soon.
Get out early enough.
Jackie, where you going? You going home to get that chicken you over here talking about?
Okay. 1, 2, 3,
We got 6.
4. We still 6, we're still good. Okay, we'll continue on with your policy, GCC leave policy.
That's yours.
That's us. That policy was bought before us.
Yeah. I think I brought that one.
Yeah. You were.
But I see it back on here, but I'm kind of glad it's back on here because there's some understanding. And I just want to hit the bereavement part of it and get some clarity. It says this will allow employees to take up to 6 working days for bereavement leave each year for the death of immediate family member. 6 days, so that's basically 3 per person. But it seems like it's telling me I can only have 2 people to die in my family and I get bereavement pay. Why are we limiting is this policy, it's not in full effect yet, is it? Do we vote on this way? You read what I read?
There's been no change.
There's been no change.
And actually, since we have legal counsel
Been a
here.
change, we might need to revisit.
I think we did revisit, that was why.
We need to revisit it again, I mean, because.
That was put in place by this board.
It was, and it was an oversight from what I'm seeing, because if I have 3 people die in my family, I don't have any bereavement pay for the 3rd person, you know. That one could be mom, pop. If you read what I'm saying, it's right up on the, it's highlighted in yellow in your book.
Okay.
And then also it says, the leave is not cumulative and must be requested in writing and approved by the Office of Human Resource. I don't agree with, I think we need to come and revisit both this and maybe sit down with our attorney and come up with a better solution, revise this policy again. Because if you got death in your family, you really don't have time to talk to anybody from human resource or administrative assistant or anybody. You're bereaved. It's time to bereave. And I had a mother and a sister die 3 months apart. And if that was the only bereavement, then I had 2 other relatives that died in the same year. After mom and sister, I couldn't even have any time to bereave on the other one. We let this stay in place. And I've heard a lot of complaints about it, but I didn't realize it until I actually read it myself. And I just think we need to revisit and let our attorney help us out with it. And again.
All right, Ms. Manville.
It does state underneath, in the event of multiple deaths, the superintendent may grant additional days, but then it states that they will be taken away from your sick pay.
Yeah, I didn't even want to address that part because I don't feel like you have to talk to the superintendent or anybody if you were bereaved in your family.
Okay.
You got to deal with that.
I think it does.
It does. There was a couple of other issues with this leave as well, which had to do with requesting leave before you take an annual leave. That was an issue, as well as sick leave was an issue. And I know we gave that all back to our attorneys to look at, and they were pretty much satisfied. Can I make a suggestion, because this is something that needs to be addressed now? I'm not saying tonight, but it needs to be addressed as soon as possible, because if we're going to change it this year, we need to get busy with it, first of all, because this year has already started. I will ask Ms. Story if she would get a copy of our leave policy.
She has it.
And would ask that on the night or the day that we come together to discuss our bus drivers, would you please come back and we will give you a date. Thank you very much. And we will address all these issues at that time. Bring lunch. Okay. Superintendent's report.
And I'll try to move through these presentations as best we can. We have a student 10-day count. Ms. Robinson is going to give this count and try to give an update of where we are as a district. I'd like to say thank you to our schools for pushing and promoting attendance awareness. We are making an all-out effort to have all school-age students in school daily. However, we still have some work to do. And Ms. Robinson?
Good evening. I would just like to provide, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members, Dr. McCord, I'd just like to provide you with an update on our current student enrollment for the 2019-2020 school year. At the completion of the 10th day this year, which was August 30th, 2019, you can see by location we had a total enrollment of 3,858 students. From last year, the final 10-day count at the end of the 2018-2019 10-day count was 3,941, which means that as of this year, we have approximately 83 less students in the district. And we are currently asking our attendance supervisor and Mr. James McCall and his department to explore where those students are. So we will be attacking that problem in truancy throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions on that? Okay. I'm just going to move over to the side. I think we have a few more. Use of the Polycom system, and I think we're going to do a live demonstration. Mr. Henderson is going to take us live to few sites, and these folks have been patiently waiting and participating virtually. And Mr. Henderson, if you would, talk a little bit about what we're seeing.
Yes, sir. As we begin, good evening, board members, all members of the audience this evening. I'm Jerry Henderson, Director of Secondary Ed. And before we get into the full demonstration, I want to give you a quick background of the Polycom system and how it is funded through the RUS grant. Marlboro County School District was awarded $485,493 for 22 systems. Okay, those 22 systems are throughout every school in the district. Each school has at least 2 systems. In front of you, you see one version of a system. That is a mobile system that we have. It's portable to go from classroom to classroom. And then we have a permanent system within the location. The purpose of the RUS grant is to full fund a Polycom system that gives us the opportunity for distance learning. It gives us the opportunity for our students to work with other classes on site within the school or off the campus of the school district. One of its main purposes of this program is designated to increase our college and job readiness, giving them opportunities to be prepared for what the new age economy and society and workforce is moving towards, and giving them the opportunity to have hands-on experience to be prepared to be the most college and career ready students. The basics of that is the use of technology, again, as I said, to communicate between classrooms. We're able to do this with our different campuses within the school district and outside the school district. It gives us the capability of recording. That component will record teachers' lessons, their audio, and it will also record the lesson content that they will show on images and video streaming. It also allows teachers to record a lesson, and kids can use that from other classes to scan with QR codes. If a teacher wanted to share a lesson, if there was a substitute in a class for a day and we wanted to share that math teacher's lesson with the substitute class, they will be able to develop that lesson. Kids will be able to scan that code and have that lesson recorded and shown to them, or they will be able to hear the audio and see the video images within that classroom. And again, it unifies multiple classrooms, and that's an option and example that we're going to give to you today. As you see on the screen, that is one example of one of the programs that we utilized this year with our Polycom system. This was throughout 6 different schools that we were able to connect at one time. We did a read aloud. The whole site was at Blenheim of Discovery. And there we had 5 other sites that were able to video conference in through our telecom, Polycom system. And there they were able, we were having a book that was read, and the whole theme was about attendance. And there, as you can see, kids were able to write what was being present, what did it mean to them. And they were all able to show that example there, what being present was to them at every site. So the Polycom system, it gives us ability to unify classrooms and work on whole class instruction across the district. And this, again, is more examples of how it looks in practice. What we want to do now, for time purposes, we're going to go to the actual sites. Today we have 3 different sites that we have logged into on the screen. And I think, George, is it unmuted? Can they hear us? Okay. So we're going to go to each site, and we have first up at BIS, they're in their STEM room. And there we have assistant principal and one of our curriculum instructional people there, Casey, one of the tech people there. You can see them waving. Casey, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes, Casey, why don't you share with us a little bit how Polycom, how we've been using it so far, how you've seen it in action with our students or teachers.
Of course, yeah. So our students are very motivated and they're very excited to be using the Polycom because they're going to be able to connect to students in other school buildings, so they get to see them. And also, too, by having teachers, a teacher can do the same lesson for multiple groups of students at different schools, so it helps connect them that way. And our students are very excited to use the latest technology as well. So the students are very motivated.
Thank you very much. Now let's go to McCall. We have Ms. Dawn Hood there, our district math coach. Don, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. Share with us your experiences so far this year with the Polycom system and what you've noticed working with the students or teachers.
Well, I know that the students, just like Casey said, are very motivated when they're involved with the Polycom. I've been over at Blenheim, where actually using the Polycom to help teach in the classrooms where there are substitutes. So they're sharing the lesson and the kids can hear what the other teacher is saying, and then they can actually talk to the students in the other classroom and ask them questions, and they can actually be a part of the lesson. Not just watch a lesson, they can actually interact as well. So I know that helps a lot with some of our issues with, having some classrooms that may have substitutes in them for a long period of time.
Okay, thank you very much. And then let's go down to Clio. Being call for our instruction team. Can you hear us again?
I can. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we have the same, we experience the same thing throughout the district as everyone else has said. One thing that I can say is that when we had the district initial Polycom day, I was here at Clio, and one of the students from Clio had transferred to McCall. And it just so happens that that student was in the class that was on Polycom. And when the students here saw that student come up on the screen, they got so excited that they were actually able to communicate with someone who had left their school who they hadn't seen in a long time. They were so excited to see her come up on the screen. So the students are excited, the teachers are excited, we're all excited. As a matter of fact, on Thursday, we have a Polycom lesson between Clio and Wallace set up, where teachers are going to teach both classes about Google Classroom. So we have many things set up, we're so excited, and the students are just overjoyed to see themselves on TV. So we're having a good time.
Thank you very much. So these are some examples that you have seen and heard from our staff so far, how we've been able to utilize the Polycom system. This is just a few of the innovations we've been able to implement so far. There are many more that we have On the docket to continue with that, we're in creation, working with our instruction team to develop more opportunities for our students to utilize the Polycom system in a variety of ways. But as you heard today, we also use it for professional development opportunities, and we have more of those with our teachers, able to train teachers at multiple sites at one time, and also other activities that will allow our students to be able to do STEAM and STEM opportunities from high school, working with a middle school class, and giving them opportunities to be truly college and career ready. So thank you, and we're really happy to be able to utilize this Polycom system to give our students new opportunities.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
I guess I wasn't listening to you in the beginning. How did this come about? Did we get a grant? Is
Yes,
it going to
ma'am.
be something we're going to continue to have?
Yes, it's, we will be able to keep this system. Each 22 of the systems was purchased with the RUS grant, and the RUS grant was the actual funding source for us to attain the equipment that we'll be able to utilize permanently.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's going to be a good thing. Okay. Thank you.
No more questions? Thank you.
Yeah, how much that equipment cost to do that right?
That equipment, we were funding a grant for $400,000.
That's how much that equipment cost for what it got?
Yes, sir.
It should work pretty good.
Well, when you think about the possibilities that await our students, it's definitely worth it. I mean, just from the standpoint alone of being able to teach classes in one spot. If we take our best teacher and we say we want this best teacher to show best practices in 5 schools or 6 schools, we can do it just like that with 6 classrooms. The possibilities are unlimited, and so the $485,000 that the district only had to put a percentage of that up, I think is definitely going to be well worth the investment.
And especially if you got a class that has a substitute that's a long-term substitute.
Which we have now.
And they're just there to
Right.
substitute, but if they could get that real, with this Polycom system, that's
Yes,
gonna be
ma'am.
wonderful.
It allows them to get the true direct instruction.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to ask, so that we can keep moving, in the essence of time, I don't want to glaze over anything that is about to be shared with you because they're all very important. Someone's calling me. Ms. Dees is going to give some information regarding updates for our 3rd grade reading.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. McCord, I'm here this evening to give an update on Read to Succeed and how it relates to our 3rd grade students at Marlboro County School District. And I've got a PowerPoint behind you. George, that's not the beginning. Thank you. Okay, Act 284 requires that beginning with the 2017-18 school year, a student must be retained in 3rd grade if that student fails to demonstrate reading proficiency at the end of 3rd grade, scoring the lowest achievement, which is our not met 1. A student may be exempt from this requirement if they qualify for one of 6 good cause exemptions. First one being limited English proficiency, Second is students with disabilities that have an IEP or a 504 plan. Students who demonstrate 3rd grade reading proficiency with another assessment after the SC Ready was given. We used the MAP. Students who were previously retained. Students who demonstrate through a reading portfolio that they demonstrated mastery 1 level above the lowest level. And last would be students who successfully participate in a summer reading camp. The next slides will show you the comparisons between 2017-18 and 2018-19 school year. Bennettsville Intermediate, in 2017-18, we had 165 students tested. 95 were not met ones. 36 of those attended summer camp, with 0 being retained. 18-19, 124 students were tested, 20 not met ones, 17 attended the summer camp, and again, none were retained. Blenheim, we had 34 students tested, 10 not met ones, 8 attended summer camp, 0 retained. 23 in 2018-19 were tested, 5 were not met ones, 3 attended summer camp, and 0 were retained. Clio Elementary School, 2017-18, 20 students were tested, 5 scored not met 1, 5 attended the summer camp, 0 retained. 18-19, 28 students were tested, 4 not met ones, 3 attended the summer camp, and 0 were retained. McCall Elementary Middle School, 17-18, 76 students were tested, 10 scored not met 1, 4 of those attended summer reading camp, 0 retained. 18-19, we had 74 students tested, 14 scored not met 1, 9 attended the summer reading camp, 0 were retained. Wallace, we had 50 students tested in 2017-18, with 7 scoring not met 1, 7 attended the summer camp, 0 retained. 18-19, 46 students tested, 6 tested not met 1, 5 attended the summer camp, and 0 students were retained.
That's pretty good.
Sir?
That's pretty good, right?
Yes, sir, not bad. We would have had 2 that were been retained this school year that did not fall under one of those exemptions, but they transferred from our district. So the district, 2017-18, 345 students tested, 70 were not met 1, 60 attended the camp, 0 retained. 18-19, 295 students were tested, 49 scored not met 1, 38 attended the summer camp, and again we had 0 retained. Looking at the schools, you will see the comparisons between the years and percentages. Bennettsville Intermediate last year, or 2017-18, was 77%, scored above that level, and 2018-19, 84% scored. That was an increase of 7%. Blenheim Elementary Middle School in 17-18 had 71% above, not met 1. 18-19, there were 78, again an increase of 7%. Clio Elementary School, 17-18, 75% tested above, not met 1. 18-19, 86, increase of 11%. McCall, 87% in 17-18, 81% in 18-19, decrease of 6%. Wallace was at 86% 17-18. They went to 87% this past year, increase of 1%. Marlboro County School District, 80% in 17-18, and we increased by 3 to 83% in 18-19. Statewide, in 17-18 was 93%, and we do not have the calculations at this time because not all districts have reported their Reach and Succeed students. With all of that being said, very proud of those scores, but we still have the children that didn't meet those scores, and what are we going to do about them? So the schools and the district are looking at ways to support these students. Schools are using win time, what I need. They're using corrective reading, small group instruction with flexible grouping. They're using their MAP data to form those groups. They're instructing on vocabulary development and comprehension strategies. They are implementing differentiated book clubs. We have Study Island, K-12. We are implementing Fonsets and Pinnell guided reading in the schools. They're using the literacy continuum. Mastery Connect, they're using that for common and formative assessments. and McCall will provide additional support during each intersection. That's what the schools are doing. The district, as we've said many times, our focus is on literacy. So we're making sure that teachers know how to teach the reading process. We're using Ms. Clavis Anderson and the implementation of Francis Vanell to work with the teachers with that. We also are offering other professional development opportunities based on what teachers need, and we are getting that information from surveys, classroom observations, and our data. Our E3 grant, district leaders are attending weekly leadership meetings and step meetings at each of the schools to show support. We're tracking the students through Enrich, putting a bigger emphasis on common assessments with Mastery Connect and our benchmark assessment, TE21, triangulation of data, and we are also able to use the 21st Century After School program to assist these students. These strategies will likely increase in change over the year as we look at what our children need, continuing to use the data of the assessments.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What can we do to help or assist parents in being able to help their kids? And I'm looking at 21st century.
Yes, sir.
And I'm stuck on this. I'm stuck on the fact that kids need more than we think they do from their parents sometimes. And if we can figure out to help out, how to help the parents, is there something in place with 21st century where the parents can get involved? To me, that's important. It helps to come to school and do it. It also helps if a child could go home and get some help at home. When you can't get it at home.
Yes, sir. We are really lucky that our Title I schools all have those parent educators, and that's their role, is to support the parents to support their children at home.
Well, how do we encourage those folk at the schools to help the parents at home?
We have parenting workshops that are provided by the parent educators, but then also one of the things that we're going to talk about at the Ecumenical Partners luncheon later this month is we are going to continue to encourage local churches to partner with schools, as we saw in the Clio community recently, where 13 or 15 churches partner with the school, not just with the school, but with individual classroom teachers. If we can set up stations in churches across this county, and by the way, there are about 123 churches in Marlboro County, but if we can set up spaces and places in churches where students can go and continue with their education, and by the way, I don't want to take too much away from what I'm going to talk about on the 25th, but we are going to hopefully offer some exciting incentives for churches to partner with us by way of offering the use of technology. And so, again, if we can do this, this is going to help us increase our efforts of students continuing education outside of school. The fact of the matter is this: many parents, including myself when I was a younger parent, can really help our students with the work. The work that we learned when we were in the process of being schooled is far more rigorous, in some cases far more complicated than we can comprehend. And I say that not as a way of disservice to anyone's intellect, but just as an aside that we have to be able to continue with efforts just like you saw with the use of Polycam, or teachers being able to videotape lessons and then post them so students can see them outside of the room. You know, we have the one-to-one initiative, which has, by the way, increased to 5th through 12th grade students across the district. So the more we continue to bridge that digital divide, the more we continue to offer services outside of the school walls, the greater the chances are going to be that students will be educated. But I don't want to say I want to put that onus on the parents only. And I know that's a strange conversation, because I hear folks say, we need the parents. We do need the parents. But we also are going to be better in providing what we can in the event that there is not a parent present. And that's where the churches can come in and help us.
Great, that'll be great.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I think the young lady, the lady that came up, that talked about the changes with the lunch, and
Okay.
that's a resource. I don't know how you can incorporate a parent that said she need more than 8 hours. She knows other students, and if our students are struggling, we need anybody that we can get to help reach them. And I was impressed with what she said, because she said that the lunch did not work well for her child, and she's concerned about her child. She needs more than 8 hours. She's not the only parent that has that concern. She would just have enough. She came here and expressed it to this board. That is a concerned parent. And so if we can use those people who,
I agree.
I don't know how we can do it, but it's just a thought that you can explore that, and I'm gonna think about it myself.
Well, I can probably guarantee you with a leader like Dr. McCord, they will get more than 8 hours.
And that's a communications gap.
Yeah,
We'll definitely look to resolve that immediately.
And we're not talking so much about, but the fact that the parent came and voiced it, she was a concerned parent, that she was concerned about the lunch, and she was concerned about the 8 hour, and we know that those things happen, but she was here, and the other parents out there, use her. Yes, ma'am. If you can.
Maybe there are more parents that's willing to volunteer with 21st Century and with the churches if we make it known that it's available for them. And that may be the best that's what we're looking for, Ms. Nan. We want them to get involved, and 21st Century could be the perfect thing for them. They're there, they can hear, they can help. So I think if we make that push to make it known to the community that if they get involved with some of the churches that have some of these after-school programs, that it would be perfect for them. And there may be ways that we can help feed those folk, a way that moms, those single-parent moms who are coming to help their kid that now they don't have time to go home and cook. Like, you never know what can be done with a little imagination and a whole lot of hope. And I think we can make that work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask Mr. Will Jurgensen to come up and give an adult ed overview. Mr. Jurgensen, I know you're going to bring some life into this room, as you always do with your excitable personality. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. McCord. Chairman McNeil, members of the board, Dr. McCord, thank you for saving the best for last tonight. I'm here tonight to share the mission of adult education, what we did last year, and how we're moving forward in serving our community this year. If you'll take a look at the board behind you, please. What is adult education? It's basic literacy. You know, if you need help with reading, with math skills, we're there for you no matter what your age, 17 and up. Employment skill training. Hey, you might be in a beginning job, but if you want to be a supervisor or into management, you can come to us and we'll help you get trained to take the career ready certificate called WIN that is required for upward mobility in a lot of these plants and industries today. So those are just some of the things that we do at adult education. What do we offer? You can come to us and get a high school diploma, get your GED, literacy, dual enrollment with NETC, WIN preparation, career ready certificates, family literacy, we have a daycare, and we use Edgenuity and virtual school for distance learning. And for the community and our students, we do Pearson VUE testing. We're a center, and we test every other Friday. These are some of the community involvement partners that we have for mentorship, for help, for referrals. That goes both ways. We refer people to them, they refer people to us. And we're working together to serve the Marlboro County community. These are some of our centers. We're not just at 215 Broad Street. We're in McCall tonight from 5:30 to 7:30. Wallace Family Life in Wallace. We're at the Federal Corrections Institute. We're at Voc Rehab. So we serve our community, not just here in Bennettsville, but throughout this great county. Now, last year, what did we do? Well, as you can see from the front line, we served 310 fundable students last year. 22 earned a high school diploma or GED. 105 got the WIN certificate. Now I want to bring you down to where it says earned a WIN Platinum. We had 1 at our graduation last year, but we actually had 7 throughout the full year from July 1st to June 30th, 2019. And a platinum is the highest you can achieve, and we had 7. So that tells you not only quality of students from 17 and on up here in Marlboro County, but I have a great staff that works the students to get their full potential. Walk-in, it says work key/win. The state transitioned from work keys to win last year. We had 135 walk-ins. What that means is when Domtar, Mohawk, and other business and industries are hiring, they require those. And if you don't have it, they're going to send you to us. Go get that test, those qualifications, so that you can interview. And we had 135 walk-in last year. And then at the very bottom, we get graded just like the schools. We have 7 state standards we have to meet. We met 5 of the 7. So we were well above average last year and very proud of that fact. Now, we get some district funding from the general fund. We get federal funding from a 3-year grant that we wrote and we were granted. And then we get a state allotment. Some of that money is results-based funding for adult ed. So the more students we have, the greater achievement, the more money we bring in for our program. And as you can see, there's an age gap up there. YAP students are called young adult population, 17 to 21. If you notice on the right column, we get a little more for them than age 22 and up. And the reason why is the state looks at that and says, hey, those kids have dropped out of school or left school for whatever reason, and they have a long life ahead of them. We need to get them to adult ed. We need to get them with a measurable skill gain, a GED or high school diploma, and also we need to get them that Win Career Ready certificate. So the state puts an emphasis on the funding for that. So we are trying to recruit and retain not only 17 to 21, but any member of the community that comes to us with any needs that we can service them with. Program objectives, what we want to do this year. We have five objectives here. By June 30th, which is the end of our year, we want to serve 350 students. That's an increase of 40 this year. Second bullet, we want to have 32 students who are going to get a diploma or GED, up from 22. By the 30th, we're going to have 90% of our students who take the GED test to receive a passing score. And you'll see why that's so high in just a moment. The fourth bullet, 150 students get a WIN certificate. We were at 105, we're going to take that up to 150. And then the last bullet is we're going to meet all 7 of those standards, not 5, but all 7 for this year. So those are our goals for this year. We're at Pearson View Testing Center. Here's just a schedule for our fall from August through December. It's every other Friday from 9 to 4. We have an administrator, Mr. Darrell Tingle, and then there's several of us that transition in and out of the room as proctors, working with our students and with the public. GED pass rate. This comes from the Office of Adult Education, Ms. Colleen Clark. We are in TANs. You know, you hear regions, but in adult ed it's called a TAN, Technical Assistance Network. We're in TAN 3. These are the other counties that are in there with us. And as you can see, last year, 88% of the students at Marlboro County Adult Ed that took the GED, 88% of the time they passed it. You see Chesterfield, 81. The only one higher was Georgetown at 100%, but they only tested like 4 students. So we are right there with everyone else. As a matter of fact, we're above everyone else. So again, that's kudos to my staff and the students for working so hard to meet those goals and needs. They do a great job, and I can't tell you how proud I am of the students and staff. Some of the things we're doing to increase that student population this year. We have banners up over our campus. If you've driven by adult ed, you see we have banners out trying to get people in. We have partnerships with South Carolina Works. We want our students, if they want employment, we want to get them a job. NETC, dual enrollment. And then we've got First Steps there bringing in some. Oh, here. Got happy with it. We have a job board. Anytime jobs are posted, we post them on our board. We want our students to see what's out there and what are the qualifications needed. We're a testing center, not just for GED. We do firefighters, EMTs, pharmaceutical assistants, nursing assistants, read for success courses. So we do that as well. And purpose-driven results for school and community. On the left, Ms. Peggy Wurzel retired after 52 years. We celebrated her tenure there. And then on the right is our graduation class from last year. We want them to see it. Who's graduating? Who's moving forward to inspire the others to keep up with the good work? And then finally, upcoming events. The last week in September is Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. We're going to have some guest speakers. We've invited famous people like Mr. Coachman, Mr. McNeil to come present. And we have someone we're working with, Mr. Cam Newton. No, not the Panthers quarterback, the cornerback. Our Cam Newton, who came from Wallace, to be a motivational speaker during that week. And we're going to have some other events. But it's going to culminate on Thursday, September 26th, with a public forum event for the public, 5:30, 7:30. We're going to have all our partners there for the parents and kids to come in, see what we have to offer, what they can do, and we're going to have a hot dog dinner, hot dog, chips, and drinks, and then we're going to do some door prizes. We're also, this year, we're going to have an industry job fair and recruitment where all of the plants and industries will come in and talk about what they do and what's needed for those jobs. They'll help us with human resources for mock interviews so our students can be successful and not show up in a muscle shirt and a hat. They're dressed for success so that they can stand out as a qualified person. And then finally, career pathway days. Every month, we bring in business and industry people, post-secondary recruiters, people from NETC, Francis Marion, Coker College, and then military recruiters. If any of our students say, I want to serve, we will bring in the branch they want to serve in. And we have that once a month so that our students stay in the know for what they need to do to get there, and we keep that vision in front of them so they can be successful. So as my 3-year-old granddaughter says, she says, Pa Will, we are cooking with gas. So I just want the board and Dr. McCord to know that at Marlboro County Adult Education, we are trying to serve this community by cooking with gas.
All right. Thank you.
And I'll happily take any questions you have.
I got one question for you. Y'all do Pearson View testing. Do y'all they do the CNA testing there?
I know we do certain healthcare tests. I would have to look back to see exactly what tests we have.
Okay. Because I know a lot of the girls go to Columbia and different
Yes,
places.
We have put in to do, like, when Chief Jackson came aboard as a fire chief, they were having to go to, like, Conway to test. So we worked through Pearson View to get the firefighters 1 and 2 tests here at Adult Ed. So we have that now. So we'll look at that, and if that's something we can give, we will apply for that if we don't already have it.
That'd be great if y'all could do the CNA testing there.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
All right, well, thank you. Great job.
I got excited listening. He just made me excited listening. I don't know why I'm going, but I'm coming to see you.
Everyone is welcome anytime.
I'm going to ask at this time that we present to the board the 2 Act 155 diplomas. Ms. Robinson. Just a brief update. Many of you know, I think it was about 7, 8 years ago. 2014. That was close, 6 years ago. There was Act 155 came out to simply state that students who had not received their diplomas as a result of not meeting one or more requirements of the now defunct HSAP test were not able to do so without successfully passing. But because of this act and what the purpose of it is to help those individuals receive their high school diplomas who earn the 24 credits as required by South Carolina State Board of Education. Students have been able to receive those diplomas. And so without further ado, Ms. Robinson.
Chairman McNeil, school board members, Dr. McCord, as Dr. McCord just stated, we received a petition from 2 of our former students to receive their diploma in accordance with Act 155. They have met all the requirements to receive their diplomas. I respectfully request that you accept their 2 petitions.
I make a motion we accept the 2 recipients.
I'll second.
It's moved and second that we accept the 2 recipients for their request for diplomas. Any question? If not, all in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposed is the same. It has been accepted. Thank you.
I'm not as excited as Mr. Jorgensen, but I'm
No,
back up again.
I've not seen anybody tonight that was more exciting. Now, that doesn't mean everybody didn't do a good, thorough job, but Papa Will's got it.
Ms. Robinson is going to stay at the podium to give a quick update on our personnel report.
I'll try to make it as cheerful as possible. I am excited to announce that my staff onboarded over 56 new employees this year, filling many of our vacancies, which included over 47 teachers. You can see we had 2 media specialists, 2 bus drivers, 2 directors, 1 lead teacher, 1 guidance counselor, and 1 school nurse. So we have been busy this summer bringing on our new talent, and throughout the year, HR will continue to work with those 56 new employees. We do have current certified vacancies, 2 music teachers, 1 GT teacher. I won't read through the entire list. While that is 12, I do want you to know that every day we are interviewing new applicants. In fact, we believe the social studies teacher position will receive a recommendation by tomorrow morning, and there are 2 science teacher positions 2 science teacher interviews scheduled for McCall this week. So we are actively recruiting, and an E3 lead interview is scheduled for tomorrow. We also have school psychologists and school therapist vacancies. However, we're using contracted services at this time to fill these positions, so they're not technically vacant. But we are advertising for full-time employees. We have 18 classified vacancies, which is 15 bus drivers, 1 network administrator, a food service secretary, bookkeeper, and 1 GCDF. Just to give you an overview of the classified staff from last year, in 2018-19, we had a total of 323 classified staff members. This year, we have 313. Last year, we had 281 certified staff members, and this year we have 308 certified staff members. We are, like I said, recruiting every day. We're using Indeed. We're using references from employees. We are pounding the pavement, and our administrators are doing everything they can to put the best candidate in front of our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Wes Park is going to give our financial report.
The report is dated September 3rd, and I've attached a budget report by object for general fund operations with expenditures to date. At September 3rd, the district's cash and investment balances on hand for the 4 primary accounts were $6,380,836. As of that same date, the district had expended $4,036,854 of a $34,818,102 budget, or 11.59% of budget. And I don't know if there's any questions. I'd be glad to.
That's for July, August, and September?
That is through September 3rd. So it would be July, August, and just a few days in September. So it's about a sixth of the year.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Park.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Park.
Wes, I'm sorry, were you going to give an update also for the monies that have been expended from the $10 million bond?
Certainly, I'll be glad to do that.
And I'd like to bring this information to the board on a quarterly or semi-annual basis, just depending on the projects that we have completed.
As of June 30th, the district has spent the following out of the $10 million general obligation bond for the project: generator for $41,684, playgrounds $299,950, electronic locks and cameras $101,243, professional fees $25,664, for a total of $468,540. And that is through through June 30th. I'll give you another update at next board meeting through September 30th to get you up to date on this coming quarter. We do have, of course, outstanding invoices and other amounts that will be reported on that particular report at that time.
So the 400,000 is the only thing that's been spent, not 10,000 so far.
As of June 30th. Yes, sir.
Hold it down now, hold it down.
No, you missed something that he said. Say that part again.
There are outstanding invoices and other things that will be reported on the next report.
Very important that you understand that.
Still hold it down.
And, certainly, I can give you an idea of what the budget is set, if there's any interest, by category, but I can report that out at the next meeting.
That'll work.
All right?
Thank you, Mr. Park.
Thank you, Ms. Park.
Got board business action. We actually thought we were going to have a donation presented tonight, but it is not here. But as you know, policy KCD says that any time we receive a donation in an amount of $1,000 or more, it has to be approved by the board. But that did not come through, so we'll wait until that time arrives. And I think many of you were present at the football game 2 weeks ago, where former Bulldog alumni Robert Ayers was present in town on our campus at our game, and he did a lot to make sure that money was raised for a particular project that he's excited to bring to the county's attention. But he is unable to be here tonight, and we'll just save this for another date.
Sounds good. Is there a need to go back into executive session?
No way.
Coach?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Coach?
Make a motion that we adjourn this very productive, long meeting.
Second.
It's moved and second that we adjourn this very productive, long meeting. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposed is the same. We are adjourned.